y'all, welcome back to the Kupcake Chronicles of Steak and Cupcakes, our YouTube channel. And this is part 2 of this series, A Journey into a Paraplegic's Fiance's Mind. And so, or inside the mind of a paraplegic's fiance. And so, this is the time where I had to tell Garland that I couldn't do us. So, Garland and we were talking a lot during that time that we were talking. And something felt wrong on my side of our relationship before. I had just come out of Bible college for my first year. I had just come out of Bible college for my second year, I believe. And I didn't know who I was. I didn't know who I was as a person. And I had to tell Garland that I couldn't do us. And I told him that I needed to figure out who I was as a person because I didn't know. And I remember telling my friend, listen, I know something is wrong, and me not knowing myself is going to be detrimental to my relationship in the future. And she told me some stuff that she would be here for me if I needed her. And I got on the phone with Garland and I told him that I couldn't do us at the moment because I didn't know who I was. And if our paths crossed again in the future, I hope I know who I am then so I can serve you better. Something along those lines, not exactly those words. I do remember saying if our paths crossed again, we'll figure it out. But I just needed to find out who I was as a person. I didn't know who I was, and y'all, that is dangerous when you go into a relationship because you give your all. But if you don't know who you are as a person, you can't exactly give something that you don't have or don't realize you have, if that makes sense. And I was crying earlier because I just remember that time when I had to tell Garland that I couldn't do us, and it hurt like 1,000 knives just being thrown into my chest. And then I just remember getting off the phone and just bawling because it hurt. And it hurts now that I had to do that to him. But that year was so needed. That year, I had to rediscover who I was as a person, who I was in Christ Jesus, and everything from the way I dressed to who I was, who I valued myself. I had to rediscover that. And that year that we call the missing year, I figured it out. And it was so hard because Garland came to my mind constantly. And there were sometimes that we would talk through text. We didn't have any conversation during that time. I remember he would say hey to me every once in a while, and like every couple months, and I would say hey back, but that was it. And it really did hurt for me to actually break his heart that way, the way I did. But like I said, that time was so needed for me to rediscover who I was as a person. And it was very needed, but very painful. And I just want to say that rediscovering yourself is okay. If you find something that you don't like in yourself and you don't want to pass that on to somebody else, you have to take care of that. Because I personally believe that I am an example of how Garland treats me, and I to him. And you can't have that in a relationship if you, let me rephrase that. I am a reflection of how Garland treats me, and I to him. And when you rediscover yourself, you have to, I would say that is you are creating a light for how you want someone else to reflect you personally. Do you want someone to reflect you as mean or not careful, someone who doesn't have control over their words? Do you want that as a person? Do you want to emulate that onto somebody else? Because I completely agree that, like I said, I am a reflection of how Garland treats me. And if y'all are in a relationship, there's going to be good times and bad times, no matter what happens. But I think it's very true that you have to rediscover yourself, and that's not going to be easy. It was heartbreaking for me. And that year that Garland and I didn't talk, but except for the times when we just said, hey, I thought about him a lot. But I knew I couldn't be with him because I didn't know who I was. But I think that time that Garland and I had apart allowed me personally to love him more when we got back together. And I know that probably sounds a little weird, but I think it's true that me rediscovering myself as a person, I could give that back to Garland. And in time, we connected so much more, so much better. Yeah, we have our differences. He's a complete country guy and I'm totally city. Words of wisdom if you need to rediscover yourself in a relationship. Don't be afraid to tell your partner, hey, I need to do something for me. Because you can't give what you don't have. And it's going to be heart-wrenching. And it's going to be a time where you just rediscover things that you didn't even know about yourself. And I think during that time that God and I didn't speak, I was learning to be steadfast in who I was personally. I didn't know that when Garland and I got back together that we'd have to deal with a wound and all that kind of stuff, but I think that was the result of me, not just the love I have for him, but the time that we had that time apart so I can rediscover myself. And the grace of God, of course. Couldn't do anything without the grace of the Lord. But like I said, I think that time that Garland and I had apart made me a stronger person for him. And it's scary. Like I said, it will twist your mind and your heart in so many ways that you couldn't even imagine. But there has to be a little rain for the grass to grow, I think. And those hard times that you'll have with your loved one, even with yourself, sometimes you just have to sit back and just close your eyes and just say, hey, where am I in this? In myself. And it's not, like I said, it's not going to be easy, but it is so worth it. And y'all, that is all that I have for you today. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Dream big, have faith. And we will see y'all next time for episode 3 of the Kupcake Chronicles. And this time I'm fast forwarding a whole year and telling y'all how Garland and I got, not exactly explaining, but that year that Garland and I first got back together. Y'all have a beautiful rest of the week and we'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.